Okay, so now we're at the point where you're going to deliver. This is the week 5 video. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. Did you know that sleep deprivation is just like being mildly drunk? Of course, drinking can do that to you as well. Now you're wondering, which one is it? Is Gary sleep deprived or is he mildly drunk? Well, let me give you a little clue. Does that help? No, of course it doesn't. But now that I've got your attention, let me remind you of some of the things you covered during your training. Remember to make your training unique. If your audience isn't engaged, chances are they're not going to take in as much as you're hoping that they will do. Make it interesting, make it engaging, make it exciting, make it relevant. How do you make it relevant, you ask? Well, know your audience. Use their experiences to bring them into the training. And ask questions to A, ensure their understanding of the content, and B, to get them involved from their own perspective. Remember your hook, and maybe add some humour. Unless you're talking about topics like dementia, then maybe you should forget about that. See what I did there? Okay, it wasn't my best, but just think about doing something a little bit different from time to time to break your training up. Okay, so here's what we need to do. Well, that'll do. We need to make sure that you're going to send in all of the evidence that's required for your Project 4. And we're talking about the last 3 pieces now. Your training has to be delivered to a minimum of 5 people, and 2 pieces of assessment should be used within your training to ensure understanding. At the end of your training, you need to have each of your students complete a participant evaluation form on your training. Now, the templates for this is on your USB. Now, don't let your students get away with a simple "good work, well done" comment. Let them know that this is your opportunity to grow as a professional, and this is part of professional development. So you're growing as a trainer, you want their critique to be honest evaluation. It's crucial to help you improve. So you also need feedback from an evaluator. Now, this is someone who already has their Cert 4 in TAE and hopefully lots of training experience, so they can give you quality feedback on what you've delivered. Then finally, you'll have to give feedback on yourself. Again, using the template that's provided. After your students have carried out their assessment, you'll need to mark this and give it back to them to sign. Now, don't let them keep it, because you need to send this in as evidence of the assessment being delivered. Make sure that you send a marked and signed assessment for all 5 of your class participants in for marking to Rose training. If for some reason you don't have anyone with their TAE present to evaluate your training, you've got 2 options that I can think of. You could contact us and we could recommend someone with lots of experience to come to you. They'll mark your work on the day, as well as give you any advice on how to finish anything that might be outstanding within your workbook or any of the projects that you've undertaken. There is of course a cost to this, but that's between you and the assessor, and usually in the past it's been around about $200. B, you could videotape it if you want. Now, your final piece of assessment is to clearly show where all of your resources were obtained. Now, this is done in such a way that if you weren't going to be delivering this training, another person could pick up this information and easily access the resources that are required. Check your manual if you can't remember doing this in class time, but I'm pretty sure you won't have any difficulties with this. After all, you're very clever. Well, so your trainer tells me. Well, that's it really. There's only one thing left to do. Go out there and wow them with your best training you can deliver. Remember, cope. How do we cope with being a trainer? Know your clients, have clear objectives, have great preparation, and evaluate your training so continuous improvement occurs. I know you'll be great. Next week is the final video in this series, but until then, get plenty of sleep and don't get drunk too much. Well, you might end up making videos like this one.